Hello, and welcome back to the Embodied Woman, a home for the authentic creative podcast. I'm here with my gorgeous co-host, Amber Susa, and we are so excited and delighted to collapse timelines today with Rebecca Joelle. Rebecca, I don't know intimately. I know her through being Facebook friends. I'm going to read her bio, and then we're just going to start chatting and see if she pops on when she'll be here soon. So, Rebecca Joelle, as a mentor to awakened women, Rebecca Joelle specializes in facilitating profound shifts at the quantum level with her extraordinary gifts of seeing into the unseen, unraveling core issues, and dissolving barriers. She helps to catalyze rapid and sustainable evolution in business, love, and life. Rebecca supports women in aligning with their highest timeline and embodiment of their true self. Through her work, she's witnessed countless women undergo profound transformations, reclaiming their power, balancing masculine and feminine energies, improving relationships, and attracting more aligned clients and partners, all while achieving unprecedented success and fulfillment, embodying their next level selves. It's her passion and purpose to serve awakened women on their journey of self-realization and empowerment. Leveraging her expertise and unique gifts, Rebecca helps to collapse timelines and embrace the life you were destined for. In the Quantum Catalyst, Rebecca curates a transformative journey where you can unleash your infinite potential with your higher self leading the way.
So up our alley,
I mean, every word
right?
is like gold.
It is. I'm so excited to hear all about it.
Yeah.
I love that.
We
Every
were
part of it.
we were just talking about collapsing timelines yesterday when we were in
Yep.
person together at my house. And I
Mm-hmm.
love, Amber, how you described, because I hadn't quite heard it described in the way that you were describing it. I'm putting you on the
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of how I want to word it.
Okay.
So, I think that we've talked about how we have experiences and we are in relationships with people or whatever. And it feels like it's like, man, I've had the same experience before, or
Mm,
man, this is coming up for me again, right? Or
yeah.
whatever. And
Yes.
rather than look at ourselves and go, ooh, what is this an opportunity for? We're like, man, that person's such a jerk, or they're being
Mm,
so difficult, or whatever, right? Which
hmm.
still, we're always going to have the dichotomy of our ego and our soul, like at the table. They're both going to be at the table. So just to be able to like distinguish who it is that's talking and
Yeah.
then make a choice in that moment to say, I'm going to choose the soul's way of seeing this.
Mm.
And I had the experience where I felt familiar, I felt triggered, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, this is exactly like this experience that I had so many years ago. It feels just like that.
Right, because that's what a trigger is.
That's right. And
Yes.
so I felt triggered and I started to feel myself getting uh, frustrated and right, all the human emotions that are connected to the trigger.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, what this is, it's actually an opportunity for me to literally like travel back in time,
Mhm.
collapsing timelines, travel back there and be in that moment with the awareness that I have now and say, I'm going to choose to write a different story. I'm going to recognize what's happening with this other person that is triggering me, that has nothing to do with me,
Hmm.
right? That has nothing to do with me. Take my ownership off of what their experience is,
Yep.
or even mostly in my case, my codependent nature to be responsible for their feelings,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
Here's
so, and to see it as that. So, and then recognize the freedom that comes from traveling back in time and like rewriting the story and shifting my DNA that is
yes.
now able to have a new experience.
I want to dive so into this. And here's Rebecca.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi there.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So good to see you. I just read your bio and we have just been talking about collapsing timelines.
That's awesome. So I emailed you my bio. I just sent it to you through Messenger because we did it a while back because we had to reschedule. So I did send it, but it was a
Don't
while.
worry. Don't
We
worry.
got it.
I
But
pulled it right off your website. It's perfect. We love
okay.
it.
Okay, fine.
We're ready to dive in. We're like super excited to hear all about all the things.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
let's start from the beginning. We just want to honor you for having the courage to come on, to be here, to be vulnerable, and to share with our audiences together. So, thank you for showing up for this, and thank you
Yeah,
for
thank
saying
you.
yes.
Well, thank you guys for inviting me and thank you for being flexible with rescheduling. I'm still getting over the cold, but way better than I was a couple weeks ago. So yeah.
We are all about honoring where people are at. It's like,
What
yes,
do we say, Siri? We
life.
say it's all perfect.
It's all
It's all
perfect.
perfect.
Um, so I'm curious where you grew up. Like, will you give us a little insight into your background of who's Rebecca?
How'd you get here?
Oh boy. Uh, let's give you the shortened version. I wouldn't say that I necessarily had a happy childhood, but that's all part of me. It's all perfect, right? I grew up in poverty. I grew up in an abusive home. I grew up in a home where I had an alcoholic stepdads. I grew up in a home where I was mostly raised by a single mother, and I was the oldest of six kids. Um, and to fast forward, we've got gardening work going on outside. Um, to fast forward most of my life, like many women, have that conditioning from childhood. Whatever hardships or whatever issues we had in childhood, we kind of carry forward until we peel back the layers and heal them. And I think for most of my life, I wasn't in touch with my intuition, even though I was very psychic as a child. And I just had a big awakening that part of it was leaving an abusive marriage. And it's interesting because like I went to UC Berkeley for my background, which was like miraculous. Um, but truly separating from like where I came from. And I consciously chose my ex-husband, knowing the psychology, that children who are in abusive homes will often be in abusive marriages and they'll repeat the cycle with their children and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, that's not going to happen to me. I know this. Like,
Hmm.
no, I'm separating from the pack, right?
Yes.
Um, but I think, well, I know that there was some karma there that needed to be worked out. And that was part of my awakening, being in that marriage, which was abusive in all the ways. And I fled that in 2016 with two little kids in tow. And that was the beginning of my big evolution, my great awakening, my dark nights of the soul, if
Yes.
you will. And I wanted to find my purpose. Like I was driven to find my meaning, like why I was here. I felt a calling for something bigger, and I felt something big was coming in 2019. And I started working with a naturopathic healer who used alternative methods. And like one of the first sessions he worked on me, he told me like, you've got a spell on you or a curse on you. And I'm like, oh my God, I just threw money at the wrong doctor. Like this guy's out of his mind.
Mm.
But my friends, multiple friends had recommended I see him. And so I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And it turns out like all these tools that he used and then some, I use it with my clients. Past life healing, metaphysical, like I didn't realize that I'm so psychic, and like as empaths, we pick up on the energy of other people and we don't distinguish between our energy and the energy of our surroundings, right? And
That's
other
right.
people.
Yes.
So it can be a very confusing path to walk. And so, anyways, I cleared a lot of that stuff with that healer and then had a big awakening and more and more. And now I primarily work with awakened women, change makers, visionaries, entrepreneur women who are wanting to step into the next version of themselves in business, love, life, all the things. And I love going really deep in my work with women. And I use all kinds of fancy tools, but really it's just helping them to become the version that they know they came here to be.
Yes.
So yeah, it's been a journey, but we all have our journeys, right? That lead us to where we are. So that's it in a nutshell.
So good.
Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. I
Thank
love
you.
that. We all have a story. This is so true. And I'm I I'm always so impressed every time we have these conversations when I get to hear about how women have so powerfully walked out of really challenging situations into the powerful woman that you are today serving. It's so remarkable and so impressive. And it's such a good reminder for any woman, any human really, but any woman who, might still be in an abusive marriage or might not be trusting their psychic abilities or all the things, right? Like I'm so honored to hear your story, and I'm excited to hear even more about, how you have come into your gifts even more fully. Yeah.
Yeah.
How old are your children now?
I was just shown this image, I don't know if you guys have seen this on social media where you have the women on the stairs and they're helping each woman up and they're each helping each other climb up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get emotional thinking about that, but
Yeah.
we're all helping each other along the journey, right? We've been there,
Yes.
we've been through it, like come with me.
Yes.
My boys, I have two boys and they're 9.5 and 12.5.
Mm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I've got a 9-year-old son and an 11-year-old daughter. Close 9.5 and 11.5. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We're all in the same boat as far as motherhood goes,
Mhm.
with the ages of our children.
Yeah, my boys are 8 and just about to be 11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
similar to you. Yeah, and I was the oldest as well.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that responsible thing.
Yeah, right. There's karma with that, I swear.
Got
God,
gotta
it's
gotta
interesting.
hold it together for everyone.
Right, right. Or walk away because you're the black sheep of the family. Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, there's responsibility, right? That comes with being the oldest child.
yeah.
Tell us, you said that you always had psychic gifts,
Mm-hmm.
but that you didn't learn to really honor them and trust them until later in life. Like, would you share some of your experiences as a younger person with how that showed up for you, and then also how you navigated that?
Absolutely. I love talking about this because one of my passions is helping women to get in touch with their intuition because I feel like that is our greatest power. As a child, I had prophetic dreams, and my parents trusted it because they came true. A couple dreams that I remember were seeing us in a traveling down a road and there was a tornado, but there wasn't an ending to my dream. And I had told my parents about it. And months later, we go on a summer road trip. And then I'm telling my mom as there's a tornado in front of us and we're driving on the road. And I'm like, Mom, there wasn't an ending to my dream. She's like, shut up, Rebecca, shut up. Like she's just freaking
Yeah.
out. Which is just funny to me now that like, because they knew that my dreams came true. They knew that like I had these psychic abilities and it was just normal for me. And this other dream I had, I remember the details so much. And now I realize I had mediumship abilities even back then. I had a very detailed dream. And I don't know if you guys remember Bryan Adams, but I went to one of his
Oh yeah.
concerts. I was like on the stage, got the pick from the guitar. So he was in the dream, and it's funny how spirits who crossed over will put elements that you'll remember, like that have nothing to do with the message, but enough to help you to remember your dream when you wake
Okay.
up. So he was in the dream, but basically it was a big celebration of an extended relative that had passed on. But it was a party, it was a celebration, but I knew what the message was. And I mean, I think I was like 12 or so when I had the dream. And I told my parents, and they went away for the weekend. And they came back and they were considering booking flights just based on my dream. And I didn't have a personal, I just get chills. I didn't have a personal connection with this person. I think I met them once, they were extended relative. But my mom had a closer relationship with her. And we get home, and back in the day when people actually had voicemail machines, she's listening to the voicemail, and sure enough, they got the news that that person had passed. But I wasn't sad about it because I knew that like I felt the energy of the celebration. It was just a couple days after my dream, so those are the kind of experiences that I had as a child. But I would say that like most of my life, I was surrounded by people who gaslit me. Even women like thinking that they're trying to help you, like but they would second guess my intuition. If you had a hunch about something, oh, it's probably fine. You know how us women like to reassure our friends, and
Sure.
actually it's like go. So it was very confusing to be surrounded by people who
Invalidated you.
invalidated
Mhm.
me. Yeah, it's very, very confusing. So I would say that was my experience. Like I would see things before they happen. Like I remember being in a car once and I saw the accident happen before it happened.
Mhm.
And it felt like it felt, and I saw like a wave of energy come out. And then I saw it happen. It was like the trippiest thing
Mm.
to see that in advance. So yeah, those are a couple of situations that I experienced.
Okay, I'm curious how now in this moment, in this highest timeline, you're using your superpower.
Um, well, people, I don't know if you guys have heard of remote viewing, but it's no, okay. So basically, people call it remote viewing, and it's basically like I can tune my oracle antenna, I call it, to like anything, basically. I recently, oh, I wasn't going to talk about this, but everyone's talking about the Kate Middleton situation.
Hmm.
And
Yes,
uh,
I've heard
I
about this.
recently released 3 reels about that because I feel we all have the capability to remote view. We all have the capability to tap into collective consciousness, like truly.
Hmm.
I don't believe in putting anyone on a pedestal. I believe we all have these gifts. Just some of us have worked harder to use them, like in our daily life. Like I have worked at these abilities. Um, so I shared some things because I saw and felt and heard detailed messages and share that with the public, even though it's very controversial. Um, Another example is my kids flew yesterday on a plane to like all the way across the country, the furthest they've ever been
So did
away.
mine.
Huh?
Same
So
as
did
Amber's.
mine.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And in the past, I would have been scared because honestly, like flying, I always have a fear of flying, and especially my kids being away from me. Like it's just like your heart's outside of your body, right?
Yep.
That's exactly what we said yesterday. Literally those words.
Yep. It's so
But I was
true. So
relieved because
true.
I could actually see them on the plane, like
Okay.
remote view. I can see them.
Yeah.
And my kids, I tell them this, like we have these conversations all the time and they get it. They're like, we have a psychic mom. So I can see them on the plane. I can see them playing on their iPads. I can see that it's a mostly smooth flight. So like I can use my intuition that way. I also use it to find parking spots, which is
Haha.
very handy. But in terms of like my gifts, I mostly use it in my personal life and with clients in sessions. So I had a session this morning. This woman contacted me because she saw my TikTok reel about Kate Middleton. And she just asked me 3 questions. And I just can hear very clearly from source and see images in my third eye and feel energy and just like use all of these abilities to be able to hear everything about her and share that with her. And it's so spot on because I'm just channeling from source and then conveying it to her.
Mm.
So that's a reading. That's some of the way. I mean, I just tune into energy all the time. Like I saw an image and it changes all the time. Like I feel like our gifts are always evolving. Like yesterday, I saw a picture of an actress that I've seen before, and I feel the vibration of her body that she had been through sexual trauma,
Yeah.
like so strongly. I just knew.
Yes.
And then I Google it and I'm getting chills. I Google it and then she has gone through that.
Right.
Just things like that, just being able to like see the unseen. Like I do path life healing. I do like, so I see like a movie playing out in my third eye, like, and I've helped people heal from relationships because I feel like our relationships are, sorry, I'm getting deep here, but I feel like our relationships
I love it.
are multidimensional. And like we've met before, like this isn't an accident, especially with like romantic partnerships. Like last year, I had a lot of people coming to me wanting to heal from a breakup, and uh, and I would help them heal and move on after one like session because I was healing the multidimensional ties that they have to that person. Because sometimes you'll be thinking about someone and you're ruminating about them, and or you have dreams about them, you can't get them out of your head, you can't get over someone, but it's like it's not and it's unique to each person, but it's often like not this lifetime. They're actually with that person in another timeline at the same time
Mhm.
as now. And I know that's like way outside most of us to be able to comprehend,
We
but
are so
It
on
makes
board
perfect
with you,
sense.
Rebecca. We are so on board with you.
whether that's like contracts or there's different ways it plays out, but you know, like they might have broken up with someone, but they're married to them or they have a baby with them, like in another parallel timeline.
Yep.
Yes.
That's or like I see this a lot with women who cannot move on from a past partner and they feel a responsibility to that person. They were their mother
Yep.
Yep.
and they still have that. And so then I look at the subconscious beliefs, I look at the any contracts. I mean, I just go through all of these things until it feels clear and neutral, you know. And once you clear these like past life timelines, they're coming up for healing. But it's
Yes.
interesting, like watching the movies play out in my third eye of past lives, and it's bringing up stuff. It's paralleling their experience that they're having now in that relationship, you know.
Yes.
So there's so many different ways I use my abilities, but yeah, I guess one of the basic ones that the audience could probably resonate with is that women can feel in their bodies when someone is lying.
Right.
It feels like confusion, or if you've been around
Mm.
narcissists or abusers or manipulators, you know, if you find yourself calling yourself, like you think of yourself as a giver, you're going to attract takers, you know, like if you're not more balanced internally, right? So I guess that would be like an easier concept for a lot of members of your audience to like understand, is that when you feel confusion inside of you when you're interacting with someone, that's a dissonance, that's a lack of truth. Either that person's not being authentic in some way, you know, and to trust that. And I feel like, you know, women, we've been raised not to trust that. We've been raised to outsource our authority to other people,
Yes.
people pleasing, keeping the peace, you know, over keeping the peace for ourselves. So,
Being
so
a
many
good
ways,
girl. Being a good girl.
being a
Yeah.
good girl. And that's a really layered conditioning system.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's how it's what we were raised in. It's like your parents know best, or your teachers know best, or
Your
your,
doctor
you know,
knows best.
everybody knows best. And I talk about that all the time. Like, what a different world it would be if we honored our children and said, actually, you probably know best. And so obviously, like, you know, finding that the delicate balance as the mom, right, who is holding
Yeah.
them and raising them, and also honoring that they're their own soul who does have an inner knowing about things, and allowing them to tap into that and encouraging them to tap into that, you know.
100%. Like I completely respect and agree with that perspective. And I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, I'm psychic, you know, but like you are too, you know, like we're
Mhm.
all intuitive. Like you got to trust yourself. Like you got to question everyone and everything. Like don't trust what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like what feels true to you, you know?
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I'm just thinking about boundaries because I feel like that's a big thing that you've had to learn with your gifts.
Mm.
Because as soon as someone hears your gifts right now, they're listening, they're going to be like, fucking tell me everything I need to know, Rebecca. I mean, how has that been for you? What's your journey with that?
Oh, people asking me for things like,
Just people, as soon as they know your gifts, wanting a piece of you.
I don't think that I've gotten that too much, but you know, my response to that would be like, do you work for free?
Ha ha ha.
I mean, there is this like, that is a journey that all healers have to go through. You know, I feel like there's like this witch wound, you know, that many of us carry.
Yes.
Um, and that's where the past life healing comes in. And I feel like that hasn't been as much as my journey, but I feel like, yeah, it's about, I feel like my journey has been to like work with anyone on everything. Like I've helped people with all kinds of things. And I feel like at times I was trying to lift up humanity single-handedly
Right. Right.
because I just, you know, my heart, I just want to give and all that, you know, but it's like, seriously, Rebecca, like what lights you up? Like, what are you passionate about? What do you want to do? And that is like self-ownership, right? Like
Yeah.
that is going to be the most of service.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you have conditioning like I did, like as a child, where like I I didn't have time. I wasn't free to be happy or joyful. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was conditioned to believe that like it wasn't safe to be me. You know, I had to present a persona outside of my abusive home to the public and
Mm.
pretend like everything was okay because I knew that the risk was like being taken away by social services. I was a kid and I knew that, you know? So I had to walk this like line. I had to be someone in pain and really struggling in this childhood and be someone else outside in school. Everything's fine. Everything's
Ugh.
fine. Like that's a lack of authenticity, right? And so I feel like I'm rambling here, but we just carry
No,
around
you're
our
not. No, you're
wounds,
not.
you
Yeah.
know?
No, it
So,
all makes perfect sense. I had a different experience growing up. I had the perfect childhood, but with parents who, I think, in an attempt to uh, heal their own childhoods, wanted to have the perfect family experience. And the confusion for me, much of my life was there's nothing that I can pinpoint why I don't feel, you know, there's pain there. I didn't have the language for that, obviously, as a child, but like I knew there was pain. I knew there was trauma. And yet we were perfect.
no
And
one's talking about it.
I was perfect and nobody was talking about it. And yeah, I mean, we would go, you know, to like family celebrations with extended family, and there was clear dysfunction, clear trauma,
Yeah,
right? And nobody would talk about it. And I would be like, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel
right.
authentic,
That's a
right?
dissonance. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's been really wonderful and healing because of my journey. I've been able to share a lot of that with my family, and we've opened up conversations that we didn't have before that feel really, really good and really honest and authentic.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it sounds like, I mean, emotional suppression is a thing, you know, and it can cause health problems, but it's like it first starts out energetically, like that dissonant feeling
Right,
that you're
right.
feeling like, wait, it feels off, but everyone's smiling.
Mm.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
just
Yeah,
hiding it under the rug. Yeah,
exactly.
That's like a nightmare. Like I feel like that's like
yeah. Very
child,
confusing for kids.
childhood nightmares is like,
Like, let's be real here, kids. Yeah. How
oh,
are you feeling?
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I just became a drug addict. That's all. Like I just went from being like
Ran away
perfect,
from,
the perfect child to like, fuck it. I not it's clearly not perfect, and this is how I'm going to handle it at the
right.
time, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to hear so I love this I mean I love the conversation about collapsing timelines. I love talking about it. It resonates with me deeply. I've had recent experiences that feel like I'm so clear about how that's happening in my life. But for those people that aren't familiar with that concept, can you explain what that even is and what that means and how people can start to have a relationship with that concept?
Yes. A lot of people are waking up to this concept, and there might be some lingo that a lot of people don't understand. And really what I mean by that is that we are still living in the paradigm, the conditioning, although we're shifting away from that, that like things have to be linear, like things have to be hard. Whether that's in being successful or, you know, you have to go to college and then you get an entry level job and then you get a next level up from there. And then you just keep going up the ladder, very linear thinking. Or like if you have a medical problem, um, and it's also just very linear. Like people think so many people have come to me with weird health problems, and I love it because it challenges the status quo, like it challenges their subconscious. When I hear those beliefs, when they have a health problem, is they've often taken on the beliefs of their doctors or, you know, other professionals, in that like this isn't going to heal, you know, this has this percentage success rate, whatever. So they've taken that on. So really dangerous to just like receive that information from doctors and not question it, you know,
Yeah.
again, that external authority.
Yep.
But I believe in miracles. I've seen miracles, and that's what the collapsing timeline's about, because it's all happening now. Like, which timeline do you want to choose? You know, we get to choose. And if we're not living in that timeline, it's about releasing any resistance we have to being that version of ourselves in that timeline. And so the resistance often, and there's different ways, you know, different tools. My favorites are subconscious belief work. That's really powerful. And past life healing, that's collapsing timelines. When people came to me and wanted to heal from breakups, and we cleared those timelines, we cleared them. And so then now they are able to move on with their lives and call in a different partner, and they're completely clear. Like they feel neutral about that past person that they have been ruminating on for like often decades. So that's another version of collapsing timelines. Or, you know, the women entrepreneurs that come to me and they are afraid of being visible, afraid of being seen, you know, they've got those witch wounds. And so we look at the past life or this life, if it's childhood stuff, we clear that. And then they're posting pictures of themselves on social media, and quickly they're seeing results in their changes in their business that if they would have taken a linear approach would have taken them so much longer. You know, it's like, I don't have patience for a linear paradigm. I want to see, I believe you got to believe in miracles, you know? And so when people come to me and work with me, we download that to them. Like, I believe in miracles,
Yes.
because a lot of us aren't running that program. We're
Right.
not running that program. We're running the program. It's got to be hard,
Yeah.
because that's what I've seen, you know? And collapsing timelines is about like, what is available to you in the quantum, anything, you know? And there is an element of like, from my personal belief is that before we even incarnated, like I see this with, sorry, getting over a cold here, let me get a sip. I see that we've made certain decisions to meet certain people, to have certain experiences. So that is interwoven in too. You know, we do have karma that's playing out, you know? So it's not like, okay, I want to be a billionaire. Like, not all of us are here to experience that, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like the best way I can sum this up is, if you want something, if you desire something, not from your head, not from, well, this person has it, I want it. That's very ego. I'm
Yep.
talking about from your heart, and you just feel called towards something, like you desire something, but you're meant to have it.
Yeah.
So your job is to get rid of anything in the way that's, you know, in the way of having it.
Hmm.
So that's your beliefs about yourself. And at the core of it, it's like people not feeling worthy, people not feeling deserving, people not really connected to their divinity and knowing the full power of like who they are. We're so much more than our human.
Music to me, and I'm sure to Amber, it's all beautiful. I can't imagine anyone not wanting to work with you. I want to work with you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's powerful work you're doing. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for using your gifts.
It's fun. I love it.
I love the fact that you relate to it as fun and that you don't feel like it's a thing about boundaries, because I find so many people with your gifts are kind of that witch wound, or like there's some sort of shadow to it for them, and it seems like you've clearly stepped into the joy of it.
Well, on boundaries, like I would say that I'm really a strong advocate for energy hygiene, and most of us aren't practicing it. Like, we, you know, brush our teeth, we floss our teeth, we take a shower, like we eat healthy foods, we exercise, but we are not just our human, we're an energetic body. And if we don't take care of that, that can turn into illness, you know? Like,
Yeah.
as an example, I mean, I know how to clear negative energies from a person, you know, from my clients, from me, my family. I've been doing it for years. And the stuff that I've seen, I mean, I mean, I've taken people who feel suicidal
Mm-hmm.
in one session to clearing just the energetic junk that they picked up, to them not feeling suicidal. Like, they feel normal after an hour. You know, they
Amazing.
don't need the drugs and stuff. They've actually picked up energies from other surroundings, from other people. Um, and yeah, it's very powerful work, like being able to do the energetic hygiene. And especially if you're an entrepreneur in the online space. I mean, I've been attacked since the Kate Middleton thing. Uh, the reels that I put out, I had to clean myself off yesterday. I mean, I found many psychic attacks. Like, you know, people don't want to hear what I have to say, and it's dangerous. It's a risk. I'm putting my life on the line by sharing what I saw.
Mm.
And anytime that you are in a online space, you are at risk of, you know, other entrepreneurs who are jealous of you, or, you know, she has more success, or what have you. You know, you're
Yeah.
just like, you're front facing, right, to the public. So
Yeah.
if you don't have like energetic hygiene in place to protect yourself or to like feel when something's off, like I'm just at a point where like I know when I've been attacked. I know, it, and there's like, I look at like over 50 different categories of energies that we can pick up. So they all have a different flavor, but I feel it and it doesn't get past me, And so before when I didn't have those tools, I would feel anxious. I would feel depressed. Woe is me, and like really dark thoughts, negative thoughts. And it was because of those energies that were in my field. And that's how I've come to understand it. And that's how I've helped people all over the world by when they have these, when they're feeling a certain way. And even when like, I mean, we're just very powerful, like we're manifestors, right? We're creators, but we can also use that power and we do so very sloppily with other people. If you get in, for an example, like if you got in an argument with someone, even over text, and they send you a message and you just feel like a zing through your body,
Yeah.
you've just been attacked.
Yeah.
That's your signal that like they've just slimed you or they've done something. And sometimes it's at a particular part of the body, sometimes it's the whole field, and then you feel drained, you get sick, but you don't make the connection between being attacked energetically because you didn't see it
Right.
and getting sick.
Right.
So yeah, so as far as boundaries, the energetic hygiene is like that's my favorite. But yeah, with joy, yes, because I feel like we are all here to be joyful and do the things that we love to do. And we just need to move past the conditioning that like we've got to work this 8 to 5 job that we hate.
Mm-hmm.
Or we've got to do this to please this person or or whatever. Because it's this, and it's been a journey for me, like having the journey of like having faith, right? That like we deserve to be happy, we deserve to be joyful and do things that light us up, because it's not selfish. You're like lighting up the world by being able to share that gift with everyone else. It just spills over,
Yeah.
and activates them.
That's right. Yes. I would love to hear more about it's not selfish, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not selfish to do things that you love to do, because you think of two different people, one person, 8 to 5 job that they hate. And so then their demeanor is maybe anxious, depressed. Maybe they come home and drink and they take it out on their family. They're rude to the customer service people that they interact with because they're so unhappy and they hate their life, versus someone who's like, taking a chance and, they're taking that leap of faith, and that net underneath them is the universe, God, right? It's like, but we got to go first and then hope that we have that support, right? But then they do that and they're filled up, they're radiant. Like you can see it in someone, you can feel it in someone when they're doing something that they love, that they're passionate about. And then the people that they interact with, the customer service person, they're just, it's already spilling out over them, and so those people feel it too. And then they're like, oh, what is it you do? Or they might start a conversation with you, and then that activates them in realizing, maybe I could leave this job too and do something that I really find fulfilling. I know you guys
Yes.
do this, so
Yes.
Totally.
big difference.
Thank you. Thank you for explaining that, because that's a very practical way of understanding what you're saying. You have a good
Right,
way of bringing it down to the practical level where like everyone can kind of get it.
right.
Yes. Thank you.
I experienced that so I teach like a dance class, and I notice sometimes women's faces watching me, because it's my happy place. It's my happy place. I'm in full permission, full freedom, full everything, just playing. And it's so fascinating to watch the different faces. Some of them are like tuned in and just tapping into their own freedom. And then some of them are looking at me like, what is like going on? What is she on? Or what is this? And it's like what you were saying, like they know that there's something there, but they're kind of confused about it because they can't personally resonate with exactly what you just said. That's what it is. That's the energy that comes from saying yes. I say this all the time, but like from saying yes to the call of your soul and taking the leap when you don't know what the heck is on the other side. And just, the energy that you feel, the joy that you feel from being so true to yourself and not living a life based on what everybody else tells you that you should be doing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And part of it, like I'm watching that play out as you're talking about it, but it's their projections because they don't feel safe to go big.
Right.
It doesn't feel safe to be their authentic self. And I can tell you, I live that for most of my life.
Yeah.
And so you look at other people, you know, because it's like, it almost feels unsafe. You know, what's that person doing? You know,
Yeah, exactly.
it's their, so yeah, you're planting seeds though.
Yeah, for sure. I feel it. And it's cool because I feel like lately I've been collapsing timelines for myself and going back in time and like healing, where I know that when I was a child, the same energy that I exude was there, but I noticed other people recognizing it in a way that didn't feel safe for me. Like there was some sort of judgment. And so then I decided to tone it down because I wanted to belong and I wanted to be safe. And so I'm seeing that play out all these years later, although this time I'm like, oh, I see what's happening. And I'm going to stay in, I'm going to stay in this frequency. I'm going to stay in this energy. And hopefully people will be inspired by it. And if they aren't, that's okay too. Right. But yes, I feel like I've been having a lot of healing around that.
I love that insight. Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah, I think this thing of being embodied is honoring your vibration, your vibrational truth in the moment, whatever that is, in the face of whatever the people around you are experiencing. And that's okay, and not needing anyone else to be okay in order for us to be okay is that unhooking from that codependency.
Oh my gosh, yes, 100% yes. I mean, I put myself out on the line by these reels I just posted, and it was very scary. And
I'm so curious what you said. Can you tell us or
by
no?
the way, just so you know, I actually saw someone else on social media having a very similar, now that you say remote viewing, I understand what you're saying because she also shared something that I'm feeling is very similar to what you experienced.
well, I mean, I'm experiencing that right now. I mean, it's like, ooh. It's like, okay, are you going to stand in your truth? Are you going to, you know, and it's like, no matter what anyone says, and really truly putting my life on the line.
You're like Joan of Arc right now.
Yeah, I have major Joan of Arc energy. So there was just, I don't watch the news that much. I don't pay attention to the media, celebrities, like they're just other people. Like I don't care. Like I just don't get involved in the drama. I just do my thing, stay in my lane. That said, there was someone commenting about the Kate Middleton situation, that someone had done a YouTube video about cloning and cloning facilities. And I'm like, and I don't feel resonant with the message of like having these spiritual teachers on a pedestal, you know, like I have my gifts, but a certain, you know, before this version of me, I didn't have access to them, you know? And so I love joining women with their gifts, you know, so they can, instead of people consulting me all the time, that you know, the journey is empowering them to have that internal authority.
Yes.
So they're not looking to me or anyone else. And so I felt dissonant with what I heard. I watched a little bit of the video and I was like, you know, like I have a 2-line in human design. So I just like.
Are you a manifesting generator?
I am with the sidereal human design, but I've been operating as a generator. It's interesting, the two different ways of human design. But like for the most ways, like people look at human design, I'm a 2-4 generator, pure generator. Anyway, so I was like, well, you know.
So that's, sorry, that's the hermit and the opportunist?
Yes.
Yeah, So you have to be you have to be called out for your gifts, and you're waiting to be recognized so that you're called out for your gifts, the people that are going to appreciate what you're saying.
Sure, yes. But the 2-line also has like these innate gifts. And for me, it's like, I mean, I remote view my kids on an airplane. Like that's normal to me, but like most people are like,
what?
Or like, you know, I help people, I connect with people's loved ones. Like I was never trained to do that. It's such a beautiful feeling though, to do that, you know, those are just innate things. I'm like, I don't know how I do this. I just do it. Like, how do I channel someone's subconscious beliefs or had the answers to their questions, not knowing anything about them. I don't know, I just do it. And so I was like, well, anyone can do this. It's remote viewing. Let's not put anyone on a pedestal. But I'm like, well, let me just tune in and check. And I did 2 readings on the 21st. This is before her cancer video came out. And then I did another channeling on the 24th. Like, I mean, I spent hours channeling, asking the same questions or asking them differently, because I want to make sure that like I'm out of the way, that I'm hearing, I basically hear it and I'm writing it down by hand. That's my preferred method.
Yeah.
So I had pages and pages of notes, and it was all repeating the same message. And it was disturbing for me, because what I don't pay attention to this stuff, but like I see she's royal family, but then in my view, I see that she was killed. I go into more detail. People are like really impatient with my long introduction on TikTok
She was killed already.
already.
And that the person living now is a clone?
I mean, so I go in way more detail in the reels, but like I basically see the scene and what she's saying before she collapses. I'm shown the room that she was in. She was basically like walking down a hallway. First of all, I'm just channeling from source, and like over and over, I hear she wanted out. That was a repeating message. She wanted out. And I'm just getting chills right now.
Yeah, because it's like Diana.
I don't know much about that. I was not awake, then, but I might tune into that. Yeah. So she wanted out, but there was an agreement, and they were trying to hold her to the agreement. That was the message that I keep hearing over and over. And I mean, I share the complete channeling on the TikTok reels, because I didn't want to introduce any bias or anything. I basically just like channeled from source, written, and then voice noted it so I can read it to the reel, to the viewers. But that was sort of the message that I heard. And then I saw her walking down a hallway. It started in her stomach. I saw her like putting a hand on her stomach. That was the first symptom that I saw. And then she went into a room, like she wanted to be alone because she wasn't feeling good. And then like I saw her hand on her head, the room is spinning. She, and all the things that she said, I don't feel so good. Like she felt really lightheaded. Like I could feel how she was feeling, and also hear what she was saying, like see it from a third perspective. That's what I mean about my antenna. I just like, I don't know, point it. I see things. And she was in a bedroom, and she was next to an armoire and a bed with posts, and she's on a rug, like a Persian type rug. And she collapsed. And then I'm shown like this green goblet on a dining table, which I downloaded, interpreted to mean that she was poisoned in
Right.
her like, dinner drink, like a wine drink or something. And then I'm just getting chills telling you this. Sorry. The next scene I'm shown is 3 people picking her body up as if they had expected to do so, as if they had anticipated it. There wasn't like an energy of them coming in going, oh my God, what happened? It was like taking, putting the files away. It was very cold. It was very unemotional. So yeah, that's why I had to channel like 3 times, because I was like, okay, show me again, show me from this angle. What else can you, because I'm like, I'm about to talk. I felt pressured. Of course, my birthday, the total lunar eclipse happened on my birthday yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And in my 10th
Happy
house,
birthday.
thank you. But I don't know if you know anything about astrology, but in my 10th house, career, public eye, reputation, conjunct, so on top of my North Node, destiny. And I knew this was coming, but I didn't know I was going to be talking about Kate Middleton, like here my birthday. And you know how you just, your soul, you feel like this hand behind you, or your soul feels like it's pushing you to do something. And yeah, the day before my birthday on the 24th, I posted to YouTube, and only a handful of viewers. And I'm like, no, someone said you should post it on a different platform. So I'm like, okay. So I split it into 3, put it on TikTok, and now it's like going up. But like what you're talking about, the authentic self, that journey, like what I'm going through right now, like, so like most people are supportive and they're awake and they see the truth and they know what's going on, and it's a relief. And some of them realize the courage it took for me to share that.
Yes.
It actually started, but on the other end of it, I'm getting a lot of hateful comments. Like I'm just
course.
like, all day long blocking, reporting, deleting. But I wouldn't have been able to handle this. Like that's part of our journey, right? Like I wouldn't have been able to handle this. I would have folded like a few years ago, right? But we just
Right.
walk through each fire.
Yeah.
And here we are, and I'm just like, report, delete, like, no, I don't take this on. This is not for me. This is for the people who are ready to hear it. You know, like I don't
Don't,
even respond to their comments. I don't take on their energy. Like, we're done here. But
yeah,
it
don't shoot the
actually,
messenger.
yeah, my gosh, right? Because already it's challenging for me to share this message on such a public level. But I was also prompted because a friend of mine online I had asked her, I messaged her, I knew it was safe to talk to her about this. And I said, what do you know about the Kate Middleton situation? And she's like, laugh out loud. This is after I'd already channeled. And she goes, she's probably been replaced with a clone or something. I'm like, okay, that's my cue that it's safe to talk to this person. So I basically told a few of my close friends who also have mediumship abilities, who are clued into the bigger agenda, before I released it to the public. And then that same person posted an image on Facebook about how the cancer video was AI.
Oh,
And it stirred all of this public stuff. And people, I can see people's comments, like, right, like third eye, but I can see that they're in their heads.
yeah.
Like they've, and the whole cancer narrative, it's like a total intentional bifurcation. It's just like the pandemic, you know, like you're going to kill your grandmother because you're not getting the vaccine. You're not with us. Like it's very much like, who's going to, like, you're making us look like the crazy people because
It's
we're like,
so,
no, she doesn't have cancer. She never had the surgery. Like, but it's like, you have to rise above the discourse to be able to see the truth.
so Amber and I were at my parents' house the other day, like 2 days ago, and right, was it 2 days ago? And
Saturday.
my parents told us about this news. And that was the first time I heard it. Was that the first time you heard it, Amber?
No, because I actually did see someone who I follow on Instagram report something similar to what you're sharing about.
Okay.
So
When they,
that was the first that I had, but I'm very much like you, Rebecca. I don't pay attention to, I don't watch the news. I had no idea that there was even anything happening with that situation. And so I have my people that I tune into and I watch, and she shared something similar. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then when your parents said that, I was like, yeah.
when they said it, something in me was like, that's weird.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's like you can feel it in your
I was
body.
like, I don't think she has
And
cancer.
that's
Like,
the
it didn't sound
Yeah.
true. It didn't seem true.
Well, now there's a backlash, and I mean, I took such, anyway, so that whole comment thread, I could see that people were in their heads. I can see that they were, and so I that was my first step in responding to a lot of the comments on there. And I said, I've channeled and remote viewed, and they said, would you be open to sharing publicly and privately? That's me being called out, right? Like, many people were like, are you going to share? And I'm like, is
Yeah.
this my role? Is this my responsibility? You know? And so then I shared on TikTok. But yeah, as you can imagine, I mean, it's quite controversial, and I have to really have faith and trust in my gifts.
Well,
To share
right,
that.
because you could definitely, yeah, it's real. It's real. People could,
Yeah.
We just talked about this though, Siri and I did, because the reason why I live in California, but I was in Portland speaking at an event, and I gave the talk, and then afterwards I said some things that I didn't plan on saying, that I was like, ooh, why did that come out? But I literally, like, I said a prayer before I went on stage. Have whatever is meant, whoever's in this room right now, whatever they need, have that come through. And so I was on the stage, and whatever came through, and then I sat there in the audience after, because there was another part of the event, like in my head, in my ego self, going, oh my God, I can't believe that came out of my mouth. What, like, But then we ended up having, but I had quite a few people come up to me afterwards and say, every single thing that you said, I needed to hear. And so we were talking about how, like, these gifts that each of us have, like, it's only the ego mind that wants to comment on how it's used.
Yeah.
Like, we're literally just a vessel.
Yeah.
And we've had every experience that we've had because it's a part of our divine mission.
Yeah.
And now we have the awareness that we have, right? Because we woke up. And so now we're just like, okay, I'm just showing up and I'm using my gifts, and people are going to have things to say about them. And some people are going to think it's amazing and some people aren't. And it's really none of my business.
And some people are going to threaten you that you can't share your message.
Right.
And
I love what you say so much. It's very true. We are just like a channel for the divine. And the more we sweep away all the conditioning and the not enoughness and unworthiness and our, all
Yeah.
that baggage, the more we clear out our vessels so that we can receive those messages and have the confidence and the courage to share them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And at the end of the day, once we're able to sift through the noise of the ego mind and all of the stuff, come back to the place of just trusting,
yeah.
like trusting, right? Whether it's what you shared, what I shared, whatever it is. Or like what you said about Siri, you said it just didn't feel true. Like that's how I felt at the beginning of the pandemic. I was like, this just doesn't feel true for
And
me.
that's all it takes. That's all
Yeah.
it takes. It's like our feelings are connected to our intuition. But, if you've spent your lifetime like going against your feelings, then you'll continue to do that. But
Yeah.
that's like when I tuned into that video of when she announced cancer, I'm like, one, for my mind, why is William not there? Why is she there alone? Because it would be harder to adapt the picture with a live person next to a video of a person. But tuning in, my antenna, it just looks like a glitching video. There's no solid frequency there. There's no solid human there from my perspective, from my energy perspective. But anyways, I went into all detail about that on TikTok, but people just want to hear the 3-second summary, but I'm like, I'm going to share everything because I'll share clips of the reels of it. I need to post those, but I wanted to share the full message so people understood like what I'm sharing. I have no idea. People are like, oh, other mediums are saying the same thing. I'm like, I'm not, this isn't a comparison.
Right.
When you're channeling from the divine, it's like you just share. You're not, wait, is this right? Is this, it's like our
Yeah,
ego human.
Yes.
that's right.
And you were talking earlier about faith. You mentioned faith, Rebecca, and I think that's the thing. It's the trust, like Amber was saying and you were saying, and it's also the having that faith, right? You're talking about.
100%. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's hard when the 3D reality doesn't match what you want.
Right.
I
Right.
think that's also, I mean, I feel like I want a whole other hour with you. There's so much I want to talk about. Like, I'm like, oh, we need to get to the part about her being embodied, but
I know.
I have to share this because I had this experience where I had visions of me having experiences with this person, but then it didn't happen in my physical reality here, and I was confused. And we recently had dinner together, and we were at the restaurant that I had a vision that it looked very similar. And I told him, I was like, I had this vision. I've seen this. I've seen this setting. I've been here. And when I saw it, I didn't know if it was like a premonition type situation. I didn't know if it was a memory. I didn't know if it was a timeline that's happening at the same time. All I knew is that I had that vision, and the fact that it wasn't happening gave me confusion.
Mhm.
But it was a good validation for me also to detach from placing time on something and like just trusting in if there's a vision. I don't know, but trust it. Like, I don't know if it's going to happen in my physical reality here down the road, or if it's happening simultaneously and I just need to like jump timelines and like clear, it's so
Yeah.
interesting to me.
Yes, I love that because we are multidimensional and we're living multiple lives at the same time. And so really for me, when I have that kind of situation, I just quickly tune in to what like each of those answers that you gave, like tune into each one of those, not from your mind, but from your divine antenna and which one is true,
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's that feminine, like the yummy, like feminine, like subtle tuning into the energy, the frequency and see which one is true. I love that because you're aware of all the different possibilities. Like I had a dream that I had a little girl and I knew that was in a different timeline. Like I just knew, but our ancestors will come into our dreams too, into our dreams. And that's mediumship, abilities. So yeah, if you just tune into each of those, I love how you're just like, is it this? Is it that? It's very feminine to do that. And then to like tune into what feels the most true. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, Rebecca,
So
you are
fun.
such a gift. I am
You are. I love
so
you.
excited that we know you now. Oh my goodness.
This was
Well,
so much fun. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
oh, we have to ask you about embodiment.
Yes.
So, what does it mean for you to be an embodied woman?
higher self's coming through and says to fully accept yourself. I think that's basically it. So getting rid of any baggage that says that you're not enough, that you're not worthy, fully experiencing your feelings when you feel them and not suppressing them, not saying that you're too much or it's not safe to express your feelings. So fully accepting yourself, your higher self's vision of yourself, not your wounded human's vision of yourself.
Right. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. And so when you feel disembodied, what do you like to do? What are your like top 3 favorite embodiment practices?
Energy hygiene. If I feel disembodied, someone else's energy is in my field.
How do you how do you do the hygiene?
So there could be things like psychic attacks. There can be entities, which are energies in the 4th dimension that interact with us and influence our emotions. If you've got spiraling thoughts, if you're feeling anxious, any low vibrational feeling.
Do you use water? Do you use grounding and running energy? What do you do?
I see them and I clear them and I send them to the light, but sometimes it's a timeline thing. So I have a whole course on my energy hygiene online that goes into that. And then I'm working on putting out the full version soon, but there's methods to it. But no, I'm not saging. I'm not taking an Epsom salt bath. Like, I don't feel like those are as effective as the tools I have, which my kids use. Like, they're simple enough that everyone can do them. So I would say energy hygiene for sure when I'm feeling disembodied, a walk in nature for sure. And let's see, what else? When I'm feeling disembodied, probably more sleep, quality sleep.
Yeah.
Sleep is good.
So good.
I
love good sleep.
Right?
I'm so thankful. I had night sweats for, I don't even know, like 2 months straight every freaking night. And lately I haven't had them and I feel like something has cleared for me.
Ooh.
But I wake up and I'm like, oh, it feels so good to be dropping.
Yeah, it's foundational, right? If we have that good sleep, if we don't, it like wrecks our emotions and our mood,
Totally.
our ability to concentrate and be successful. So yeah.
Yeah, so you probably have tools to kind of close things off when you go to sleep.
So I guess for a tip for your listeners that they could use, I have a free cord cutting tool on my website that's like basic energy hygiene that everyone could benefit from. And that's like I would cut my cords probably like after this call. I'm not fanatical about it, cutting cords, but like I'll do it before and after my sessions. So I'm disconnecting from my clients.
Yeah.
And I would say if you're a listener and you're working with any healers out there, make sure they have an energetic hygiene practice in place.
Right.
But they say like before you go to bed, when you wake up, but I mainly just do it when something feels off. I can feel when someone's tugging on my energy. I know when someone's thinking of me, like I can feel it. Which I'm sure many of your listeners have that feeling too. So, but if I continue to have thoughts about someone, then I'll cut my cords, or if I feel low vibrational, I'll cut my cords. So I feel like that's an easy tool that most people can put into place.
Oh,
well, we definitely need to send. And what is your website? Where can people find you at your website?
I am RebeccaJoelle.com.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful site. I was looking at it before we hopped on. Is there anything that you're really just juiced up about, excited, lit up about that you want to share before we finish? That we didn't.
I am just super excited about the change in my offerings and my focus on who I'm working with. I'm really excited to be working with awakened women, visionaries, change makers, women who want to make an impact, make the world a better place. They just might have barriers, like unseen barriers, preventing them from a certain level of success or attracting in a partner or feeling good about themselves in whatever way. So I'm really passionate about helping awakened women reach their next version of themselves. Helping each other rise up, as women, like that's what I'm stoked about.
Love it. Oh,
so are we. We love it. We love it.
So good. Thank you, Rebecca. Everything you said just makes so much sense. I grew up in a world with all of this psychic work.
Awesome.
I do Akashic record reading. My mom's clairvoyant. She's a clairvoyant teacher. Like all of the things you said were just like, yep, yep, yep. Like
Oh, nice.
speaking my language. And thank you for sharing because it's really important. We all have these gifts.
Yeah.
And it's really important to talk about them and validate them and honor them and
Sure.
practice working with them.
And speak out about them. We all need to speak out more. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's been a
yeah,
lot of suppression, like on a bigger scale. Yeah.
that's right.
This
Yes.
conversation feels like as good as when I was a little girl and it was Christmas morning. That's how good this conversation
I thought
feels.
you were going to say sex.
Ah,
Shucks.
I mean, the sex
Just kidding.
that I've had recently, I can't.
I'm all for good sex. And
I
once you
can't.
step into
That's
your
at the
divine
top.
feminine,
That's at the top. I can't compare that. I can't compare that. I'm gonna keep that at that in that spot. This was good. Well, that's a situation. Anyway.
All right. Well,
we didn't even talk about sex. We usually like to talk about
I know. Do you want to talk about sex, Rebecca? Or are we good? Should we do that another day?
I can come back on another time if you guys want to talk about cosmic sex and divine feminine embodiment. And
Yes, please.
Let's do this again.
Let's do it. Next time, sex. Okay, good. Part 2. Okay. Well, part 1 has concluded. Rebecca, we deeply appreciate your, oh my gosh, your incredible courage, listening to the call of your soul, showing up with your gifts, showing up big, collapsing timelines, helping women, being your authentic self, all the things, like the magical being that you are, helping lift up the world. Thank you. And thank you for doing this conversation here with us today. It's so, so, so meaningful to us and to the people listening. Thank you.
I have loved this so much. Thank you so much for having me. I love these conversations. They really fill me up and light me up. So thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Our honor.
Part 2. Have a beautiful rest of your day. It was a joy to be
all right.
with you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, she's amazing. Okay. I just had this intuition that we had to talk to her.
Siri, you made the right decision in trusting that because she was phenomenal.
Sometimes you hit the lottery.
I think we hit the lottery. That was amazing. That was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I want to definitely get a reading with her.
I want to talk about cosmic sex with her. I think I've had it. I think I've had cosmic sex with her. I want to talk to her more.
Yeah, cosmic sex.
Cosmic sex.
I mean, I wonder if it's similar to sex magic. Or if it's a different thing. What do you think?
I would love to hear her perspective on it and to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've experienced it. The magic and the cosmic.
Well, it's probably slightly different. Like my guess would be cosmic sex is like opening portals and collapsing timelines and like being like your galactic self and all that, like with another partner.
Yeah.
And then sex magic is probably more just like that practice of manifesting while you're orgasming.
Right. I feel like it could be both, but I think it's, and we'll see when she comes on, but like, you know, I hear a lot of people who do this work talk about like sex as being like the sacred act of a portal to the divine through the act of making love. Like that's a portal to higher dimensions and
we were talking about with Sarah Entrup.
Yes.
I was saying about her workshop was that. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm gonna send a message to, remember the Instagram that I sent to you, the guy Stefanos, who the picture that I showed you and then I read you the description. I think he'd be fun to have on as an embodied man.
Oh, let's do it.
I'll send him a message.
Yeah, good.
That'd be fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I love this work. I love these conversations. I love this work. And I love so much that it's getting even more.
It's juicy, it's powerful.
Juicy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, bless her. Oh my goodness.
She's gorgeous. Doesn't she look like Kate Beckinsale? Did you have that? Did you think that at all?
Oh, I can see that.
I had a
Yeah.
moment. I was like, when she like flipped her hair, I was like, oh my God, she looks like Kate Beckinsale. She's
Okay.
good. I
Yeah.
loved her. I loved her. I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
So authentic. So
Yeah, I want to
real.
do a
So
reading
so
with her.
so easy to talk to. Yeah, I think we both should.
Yeah.
Could, would.
Can, will.
In some timeline, in some timeline, it's already happened that we've
It's already
had.
happening. Yeah.
It's already happening.
Happening. Yep.
We were destined to work with Rebecca Joelle. Are you destined to work with Rebecca Joelle? Well, if you are, reach out to her. Hey, and just a little,
Hey.
hey, just a little plug. We're both drinking our cacao drinking chocolate, Mackenzie's
Yes, we are. My
cacao
favorite.
drinking chocolate, which has become my new favorite thing to drink.
And don't we have a code to that? Aren't we an affiliate?
We are an affiliate, and it's in the show notes.
Great.
And
Well,
and P.S. PPS. The Embodied Woman Sisterhood is every week, Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern.
yep.
And we've got some new women coming in,
Yep.
and they're all gorgeously embodied, powerful women that are human as well. And so we're all on this magical path, but we're also all human and have our struggles. And so we support each other in that sisterhood. And it's incredibly powerful to be held in the sisterhood. We dance, we breathe, and we would love, it's the first month is free. We would love to see you there. So reach out to us, either me or Amber, and say you want to come, and we'll send you the information.
And also,
Yep.
if you want to see us in person,
Yes.
May 22nd in LA. So
In Tarzana.
that's right.
Core Bungee. Okay,
Fitness,
so yeah, Core Bungee Fitness. Is that what it's called?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's on our Instagrams, and it's in my newsletters, and just reach out for that too. And that's going to be an in-person embodied woman experience with sharing and coaching, dance and breath work. It's going to be incredible. We're also in talks with someone to do a embodied woman kind of retreat, if you will. But we'll keep you tuned on that.
We have so much going on. We are writing a movie. We wrote
we wrote a movie. Yeah.
We wrote a movie the other day.
Lots of chapters to that movie.
So many good things in the works.
So many. All right. Stay tuned, guys. We love you.
All right. Bye. We love you.
See you next time.